All right, I guess first off, just we're 8 days away. Kind of where are you at right now when you've been out in these events like this? Are you seeing things that are kind of changing the way you want to govern or how you're approaching as you're hearing people directly?
You know, we've always had the same plan. It really hasn't changed. We're just hearing from more parents saying that they're very concerned about where we are in education. As the latest scores have come out, you've seen that Michigan has dropped even lower. Definitely concerned about inflation, how they're going to get more money in their pockets. So a focus on that, but also, you know, we're not taking our eye off the ball on crime as well.
In the past few weeks, we've been seeing some polls are showing that it's a closing race. A lot of time on the debate stage last week, we heard lie, deception, misinformation was probably the phrases that were said the most. How are you able to fight that, especially when you're falling behind in fundraising and TV advertising and everything, and the message is kind of out in front?
I think she was sort of surprised by where we are with fundraising because we're just about even right now and we're able to get a lot more ads out. So I think we've done a great job of getting our message out. I think the person who was dishonest on the debate stage over and over again multiple times and has been called out for it was Gretchen Whitmer. And it's not really even a situation where she needs to be called out. It was so blatantly dishonest that the people of Michigan saw it time and time again.
And now this past weekend, former President Obama was here. He spoke about you directly, some of the things you have said in the past. I just wanted to first get your response to kind of him calling you out for things you've said.
Yeah, I think that they don't have anything to talk about when it comes to my plan. You know that he's going around the country trying to paint Republicans as crazy people. He's talked about lizard people, sounded like Joe Biden on certain occasions. So I think it shows that they're nervous, and I think it's cute that he came here, but I don't know that it's going to have much of an effect.
And now I know a lot of voters I've talked to that have been undecided have been wondering, there's one thing having all these plans and policies that you want to do, but then it's another thing when you're in that seat getting them done. How can you guarantee to voters that you can follow through with your promises, given it might be a split legislature at the time or just other viewpoints?
The things that we want to do are the best possible practices for the state. There has to be some change to make sure we get back on track with economic development. As you've seen, the automotive industry going to southern states, we're not getting those new factories here in Michigan. That's a concern. I think that people on both sides must be concerned that we have to get economic development back. But education, there's no question. We're in the bottom 10 in the nation. If we have people that are fighting back on that, then I think that we can sit down with them and show them the data and explain that we have to give our kids a future. And if anybody is not willing to give our students a future, then I'm going to call on you to call them out for why would you not work with the folks on the other side?
And then economic development, bringing those companies in our viewing area. Goshen was approved for this major plant. You're for economic development, spending the money that's needed to, but you weren't a fan of this plan. When I went to the meetings there, when they approved it, there wasn't a single dissension person speaking out there. I mean, what would you say to the community in Mecosta County that is looking forward to 2,000 jobs no matter where it's coming from?
Well, you certainly saw that there was quite a bit of dissension in the legislature over this because ultimately we know that this is $715 million going to a Chinese corporation. We have so many different companies that are building up in the United States of America, but we're sending our taxpayer dollars to a company that has ties to the Chinese Communist Party. I think for the majority of the legislators who understood the danger of bringing the Chinese Communist Party into the state of Michigan, you saw that on the House floor saying, we don't think this is the right thing. We should not be passing these dollars to go on to a Chinese corporation. Economic development has to be done in a smart, intelligent, and prosperous way for the state of Michigan. We can't just grasp at straws because an election is coming.
Is it difficult, though, to do in a global economy when so many companies do have such a global reach? There's going to be ties to bad countries everywhere, and it's so competitive you want someone to come here.
Yeah, somehow all of the other states are able to do it very successfully, and Michigan's been struggling. I would say that we can do it better and get the American companies too. We just have been really bad at it.
All right, and then you'd mentioned Line 5 in the last one. Kind of that's a big talking point that people want to make sure that it is, one, not kept open, but we get this tunnel going. Is that a plan that, what are you going to do when you're in to make sure, one, the tunnel stays, or the line stays open, but then also we get this tunnel project done?
Well, we know that there's still a few loose ends that need to be tied up with the federal government to get that done, but as soon as those approvals come through, we would like to make sure that project gets started right away.
All right, and what would be the first things you do in office if you are elected?
Definitely get the education system back on track. So we know our kids are severely behind. We're more behind than most other states because of the number of months that our kids were out of school. So we have to get them back on track. So first and foremost, tutoring, and then figuring out how we can make sure each kid is getting the best education for them.
And your tutoring plan, we're already having trouble finding enough people to be teachers. How are we going to find the staffing to give every student 24 or 25 hours of tutoring?
Yeah, this is going to have to be a full-bore effort to make sure we bring people into the state, bring out retired teachers to get them into the classroom, make sure that we have the right program, but it's going to be a focus, and that when you are determined and you're focused on something, you can make it happen. I would argue that we've heard several promises from this governor from even 2018, a sunshine plan, fixed roads, clean water. Those were her priorities. Somehow in 4 years, none of those were accomplished. You have to have priorities, but you also have the drive to get them done.
One final question.
And I was going with that. Is that something that can happen? Because it seems like that's a big plan, getting these people back out of retirement, getting people trained. That's a long-term plan, but students right now are
Well, we've
struggling.
seen surrounding states that have been very successful in doing this. It's a matter of having the right people in place to make sure you can get things done quickly. The idea of we are looking at the state of Michigan and saying we're going to limit ourselves to what we see right on the ground, we have to get creative and think outside the box. Other states have been successful at it. Gretchen Whitmer doesn't think outside the box.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.